welcome to a new episode of the Astroholic Live. I am Dr. Pinetti.
And I am not yet Dr. Matt Young.
We're really excited because
we have sound effects.
Yes.
And we have test tubes.
Yeah, so
hashtag production value.
Exactly. So as you might recall, there being a bit of disaster from somebody who's a professional bartender on mixing cocktails.
I never said professional. I just said I was a bartender.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I never used the word professional, but anyway, I digress. We will move on.
So I mix these lovely cocktails, very cool and sci-fi, and we're going to drink throughout the evening while we're answering questions. You want to explain the different formats?
Yeah, so we took a slightly different format because we've realised, it is actually a little bit difficult to try and answer your questions as they're coming in while we're doing the show. So we're definitely prepared tonight. We are set up with our iPads, so if you send us anything, we can see it, and our poor production manager Chris doesn't have to run around like a maniac in the background. But also, we got some questions in advance, because we're that prepared, and so we're gonna answer the science questions from the internet, and I don't know what they are yet. Only Alf does. So I'm hoping I can actually contribute.
Well, I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of discussion.
I hope so.
So let's start with a question that I really enjoy. Is from Greg. And
what's it? What is he on Twitter?
Is Greg1. That doesn't tell me. Is only one old Greg on Twitter.
Hey Greg.
Hey Greg. Greg's question is two-part question. The first part is what, if anything, excites you the most about the Webb telescope? And the second part is, with the high cost and the fact that it will be too far away to repair once in position, do you think it's a good investment? Do you think there are better projects that 8 billion could have been spent on? So let's answer, actually I'm going to answer everything all together. First,
what is the Webb telescope? Because if you're anything like me, you don't know anything about what
I thought that you were just going. Okay. The Webb telescope is the James Webb Space Telescope, which is going to be the substitute of Hubble. It will be much better than Hubble, and he will allow us to see further into the universe, both in space and time. Ooh, indeed. The last mirror was installed yesterday, and so we are really in exciting times. Why does it say that it's going to be too far away? So Hubble orbits around the Earth, and one of the problems with Hubble is that its primary mirror, when it was put into space, got a little bit deformed. So Hubble was the first short-sighted telescope in the history of...
Hold on, is that a pun? Calling a telescope short-sighted?
Could have been a pun.
Oh.
Anyway.
Well, hold on. I'll just tell you all tonight. We've abandoned the gold star system, and we thought we'd have actual physical treats. So we have some mini eggs here, but you can't have one because that was really poor.
Okay, I'll try my best. I'll try my best later. James Webb Space Telescope. No, Hubble first. I think that it's mostly because I'm significantly older. You might not remember that at first people really thought that Hubble had been a terrible investment because when it was set online, it couldn't take good pictures. But now you ask anyone about Hubble and you just think of the amazing pictures that they have been taken in the last 20 years. So what excited me the most? The JWST, so James Webb Space Telescope, could be able to see two things that we know are there, but we had never seen. The first star that ever shown in the universe, and hopefully managed to photograph an exoplanet directly. Ooh, indeed.
No, that's some fancy stuff, because that feat has not yet been possible, has it? The only reason
No, we have some. We have a picture of where an exoplanet is around dust gas, but we've never taken a picture of an exoplanet, and it's going to be incredible. That wasn't the sound effect that I was expecting.
No,
So,
that was someone else.
let's get political. So it cost $8 billion. Let's consider that half was paid by Europe in time, and the other half was paid by the US, not in time because of Congress. So saying, Greg here means as the better scientific projects. But something that I get asked a lot is, look at the space mission. Wouldn't those money be better spent doing something else, curing cancer and stuff like that? And yes, a lot of science could be better spent in medicine. But my usual argument, and that I had a very, very big argument, after New Horizon, Pluto, one of the main TV news presenter in Italy actually said, why are we spending money on looking at rocks in space?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
And then...
how very dare.
And then I usually point out that in the 8 years of the Iraqi war, the West spent something close to $3 trillion.
Sorry, say that number again.
$3 trillion. So
$3 trillion.
So we could have about 75 JWST, and maybe we can throw a couple of large hadron colliders as well in.
Or it's also bordering on about 4 trillion Frodos.
Yes.
If I do believe so myself. But, you know, given the way, like, inflation rate's been going and the price of Freddos is just skyrocketing, I mean, who knows? We might not even be able to get 3 trillion Freddos for 3 trillion.
But let's also answer the question on how Greg meant it. No, I think that WST is a phenomenal scientific investment. Has the capability to not self-repair, unfortunately, and it's going to be far away from Earth. It's not going to be around Earth orbit. It's going to be beyond the Moon, because to see that far into the past of the universe, it needs to be capable to look at infrared a lot. So the Moon and the Earth will, and obviously its sun shield will shield the telescope from the infrared radiation from us and the sun. And I don't think at the moment there is any other project that gets me more excited when we talk about space. And I don't think we should like doing a comparison between science, because all science is really fantastic. And as long as you got a great idea, seriously, if I had the money of the Iraqi war to spend on science, I don't know, a huge hadron collider, mission with landers to Pluto, Europa, Enceladus, a new mission to the asteroid belt, a mission to see Triton, which probably is, as Pluto is such a diverse object in the Kuiper belt, is probably the only original piece of the solar system. And yes, I'm a big nerd and I really enjoy a lot of science stuff. So don't give me too much power and too much money, because I'm just going to spend it on science.
Well, I totally agree. There's no bad waste of money on the pursuit of knowledge. No money is wasted in, well, I was going to say no money is wasted in science, but that may not be entirely true. But still, it's not a waste of money to spend it on pursuit of knowledge. Before we carry on, we've had some shout-outs on Twitter. Just say hello to Ross McKinnon. Hey Ross. He said, Matt JY, rocking the purple. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. I do try very hard. You may have noticed at some point in the past that Dr. Carpenetti here was rocking the red hair and beard. That was courtesy of me. Yes, thanks for asking. And,
we are on point with the sound effects.
Yes, we are. What did I say? Hashtag increased production value.
So I think we had our first question. So we should have our first.
Oh
shot.
yes. Also, JD Yates, AJD, he says, apologies for his tardiness, but he's noticing an alarming amount of cocktails. Your observation skills are on point.
Yes. So
what are we drinking? Tell us, Elf. What is it?
So in the red one is a mixture of triple sec, cranberry, and vodka.
Sounds nice. And I tell you, if doing a science degree, a biology degree is taught me anything, it's to unscrew things with one hand. You know, my microbiology guys will know what I'm talking about. If any of you watching did microbiology at uni.
Okay.
Life skills.
Yes. Cheers. I think also the drinks are on point tonight. Well, at least the first. Red is good.
Yeah, yeah.
We like red.
I also appreciate them coming in these quantities because, as any of our regular viewers may have noticed in previous Astroholics, there is sometimes an issue of there being too much alcohol in one glass. And yeah, I'm appreciating the bite-sized test tube approach.
Good. Would you like to answer a question of biology?
You know what? I would love to answer a question.
Wonderful.
Fire away. What is it?
The question is, DARPA, it's an American thing that at the moment they...
a technology company.
Yeah,
and
no,
they make
it's
a
not
lot-
a technology company. It works for the Department of Defense, and they
Oh,
look
right,
at
okay.
advanced technologies. And they are working on a chip that can interface a brain with a computer. So the question that I got, which is somewhere, and I'll find that while you chat, is if we can interface our brain with a computer, could we download our consciousness? Could we just get into a robot and have a robot just act like us? Could we copy our consciousness? So tell us about brains
Isn't this
and
the
computers.
question of the century? So there's always been this idea around that at some point we'll figure out how to download our consciousness into a computer. And there's been a lot of movies around, especially in the recent years, about AI and all the possibilities. And most of it's like doom and gloom scary stuff. But especially oh God. Yeah, that.
Okay.
Where was I? Movies. Terrifying movies. Of course, some of them quite good, like Ex Machina was a really good movie about... it's very entertaining. Whether it's accurate from a computer science point of view, I don't know. But basically, in theory, it's possible to download your consciousness to a computer because the way your brain cells, your neurons talk to each other is in these electrical impulses. And they work on a sort of all or nothing basis, whereas they don't have various different levels of how much they fire signals. It's either they fire them or they don't. However, so people have taken this, as sort of the basis of a theory of almost like computer binary, whereas if you could map all the connections in the brain, which something like the Human Connectome Project has done in recent years, you can then start to track the signals in the brain, which is a whole other feat that we don't have time to get into because it's like nigh impossible to do that. Excuse me, but there is still so much more on top of that because not only do different regions of your brain have different functions, the different regions of your brain also have different types of neurons, and their impulses mean different things. It's not just like it's not as simple as an electrical circuit where impulse fired means the circuit is on, means the circuit is active, means the circuit does the same thing every single time. It's hugely complicated. So, I mean, in theory, yeah, it's all great, but in theory, everything's great. So, I mean, I don't think it's personally going to be possible for true artificial intelligence for a long time, because the stuff we call artificial intelligence at the moment, it's not quite intelligence as such. It's basically just very clever programming where we programmed computers and robots to be able to think in a certain way about a certain task. For instance, the robots that play chess and can beat people at chess, those robots are really good. Deep Blue, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Did you say? Yeah, so a program called Deep Blue. They're really good at playing chess, but the whole definition of intelligence is that you'll be able to, if something is intelligent, they'll be able to adapt and change and learn. And that's something we've yet to really be able to get. We're yet to have a true sort of artificial intelligence that is intelligent at doing more than just one thing.
You see, it was fascinating to read this week, also actually write as well, about this program by Google called AlphaGo, which can play the ancient Chinese game Go, which is considered one of the most complicated game in the world, probably the most complicated game that humans play, simply because there is 250 to the power of 150 possibilities, which is
Lots.
10 to the 130 times more than there are atoms in the universe. And computers cannot just select the best possible scenario. They can memorize all the possibilities. You can just teach them to work out the possibilities, but they cannot work out what is the winning strategy. Until this week, when it was announced. And that's fascinating because people thought that there was an unsolvable problem for at least another decade. But they use this thing called neural networks, which is trying to mimic the way the brain works in a machine. Obviously not in the same sense, but it is having different paths, having a machine actually learning, which is fascinating, but probably decades away from true artificial intelligence.
Yeah, so I think you may have heard that people like Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk have issued warnings against AI and saying, oh, it could be, you know, the end, not necessarily the end of the world, but it could be very bad for humanity. And while I understand that point, the point of view they're coming from, I really do think we're quite a way off from actually having true artificial intelligence. I mean, I for one welcome our future robot overlords. I think it will be great.
So, let's have another one. Blue or green?
I would have to go with green, I think, because
Okay.
I don't really drink enough green.
So, this is
If
actually
that's a good reason.
this is actually quite healthy because it's got 3 of your 5 a days.
Oh,
Plus
really?
So there's
Vodka is made of potato, which is technically a root vegetable.
this is with kiwi,
Bye-bye.
lime, wheatgrass.
Ooh. Oh, wheatgrass. Oh my.
Yes.
We're getting fancy up in here, y'all.
And then with blue curacao and vodka. So let's see what I make.
Okay.
And to be honest, I sort of look like my plan was to have something that looked like Ambrosia from Battlestar Galactica because I am a big geek.
Yeah, cheers to you too.
Cheers.
Smells planty. I don't know.
Whatever.
It tastes nice, but
Well, we still playing.
no, it's good. It's good. I tell you what, it's good.
All right. So, I think it's my turn for a question. And what we're going to talk about is the Alcubierre drive. Loder asked on Twitter if the Alcubierre drive is a feasible idea.
Could we just go back and say what is an Alcubierre drive? Thanks for the question though, Loder,
Yeah.
but also WTF are you talking about?
So, it's a type of warp drive.
Oh, I know warp drive. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm back on the plane.
Back on-
with you.
yes.
Yeah, we're on the wavelength
So
now.
it's I'm gonna toss you overboard in a second because it's from one solution of the general relativity equations. So you need to have a source of material or some trick to create energy lower than the vacuum energy, and that should propel you forward. So, from all the warp drive ideas that I've heard, is the one that convinced me the least. Simply because we barely understand the vacuum energy of the universe. We have very good explanation both from astrophysics, so from relativity, and from quantum mechanics, and they really don't match.
And is it true as well that space is not in like a true vacuum as well?
No, yeah, the energy of the vacuum is the problem that doesn't make it a true vacuum.
Because it has energy.
There is always energy. So the idea is...
always energy.
If you can have, let's assume a magic substance, a cavorite, or any other mithril, whatever you want.
Mithril, let's go with mithril.
The dark matter in Futurama, you have a material that can reduce the vacuum energy around your craft. You would pretty much always going downhill. And this is why, how can you do the warp in very simple terms. The issue is, there are, I feel, better ways. Ideally, if I were to bet money on something, possibly we're gonna get closer to something with strong electromagnetic fields that can create small artificial gravitational field. And I can get into details of that, but you can ask the question if you want to know more.
Question from me: what do you think is the most likely, like, warp type drive that could exist?
Yeah, the one using artificial gravitational fields.
Oh, okay.
That's what was this kind of? I feel that that is the. I feel that is the most likely, simply because the consideration is energy. Curve space-time. So if you can create an electromagnetic field strong enough, you should be able to create artificial gravitational field. And consider that we only been manipulating electromagnetic field for about 120 years, 130.
There's a long way to go.
No, but think how much we've gone from having not even knowing. Yeah, we knew about electricity and magnetism, but we didn't know that there were electrons. To now employ the most advanced technology. Seriously, iPads, iPhones, smartphones, they use quantum mechanics, relativity to work. So imagine what we can do once we start playing with artificial gravitational field. We're gonna have devices that can play with gravity, hopefully, and eventually getting to travel across the universe. I think I got a message.
Cool.
Okay. So.
Well, JD says that's the best explanation he's heard of the Alcubierre.
Oh, thank you.
To date.
Thank you very much.
Nobody gets it. I'm still with...
Oh.
Thank you, you're too kind. But I agree, I still don't quite get it, but it's cool. Oh, no, I liked your downhill analogy. That was good.
Well, most of the warp drive, you can think of, you know how annoying it is when you have a hoodie and you pull one of the string out completely?
Yes.
So, what do you do before you drink?
Oh.
Before you drink, what do you do to put the string back into the hoodie?
I wait until I go see my mum again. And
okay, what does your mum? What does your mum do?
I don't know. It's that's not a question I can answer. It's magic.
It's not magic. What she does, she put
she feeds it back in slowly by slowly.
Yeah, slowly. She push the stuff. She put the fabric in front of it, and she stretched the fabric behind it.
Yes.
That's what a warp drive is. You need to compress the space in front of you, actually space-time in front of you, and you need to stretch the one behind you. So you need technology that can warp space-time, hence warp drive.
Okay, I'm with you now. With easy.
Easy,
Can I
good.
drink now?
Let's have blue.
Thank you. Let's have blue.
So,
To warp drives.
to warp drives. Cheers.
And cheers to you. You didn't explain what was in blue. It's quite nice, but quite strong. What was in blue?
In blue is vodka, rum, and blue curacao.
Ooh. All tasty things. Nom, 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 nom.
So, I think I might. Before we go on. Okay, we have a follow-up question on this one, and then is Matt's turn again. JD asked, electromagnetic drive, artificial gravity drive is or isn't equal to artificial increasing mass? We actually, well, to be honest, you should be able to. We should be able to create artificial. You're not increasing mass. Mass is a property of an object. Gravity is a force that the object experiences. So, if you want to have that, you need to have a sort of Higgs boson cannon. That's another good way to create a warp drive. If you somehow make something that is, if you can remove all the Higgs boson around matte, it would still be matte, but it would have no mass. It would be very light, and it would be able to move to the speed of light very quickly.
But what is a matte without mass? What is mass without matte?
Okay, we're getting a little bit too philosophical. So you're not going to be increasing mass. You could increase weight, but the idea is you twist space-time around. So inside the spaceship, ideally, you wouldn't have anything like that.
Wait, so you're just saying I need to lose a bit of weight and then I'll go a lot faster?
I'm not saying that.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Moving on. What have we got
on.
next? We haven't got another. Have we got another question?
We got a question for you again.
Oh, exciting! What is it?
The question for you is: there's been a lot of new dinosaurs recently, and a plesiosaurus, because the one that they sent me wasn't a dinosaur, so it's a plesiosaurus.
Yes, plesiosaurs are not dinosaurs. Thank you, Salman, for the epic introduction to this part of the.
Thank you very much for the question. Know who you are, but I'll save you the shame from everyone else for fixing the plesiosaurs. But we love you.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. So,
new dinosaurs.
new dinosaurs.
So, first of all, just because we had the Jurassic Park little intro there, you know, in the most recent one, number 3, where they have the giant big one that it comes up and it's like, out of the sea, and then it eats the shark. Yeah, they call it. They say, this is a mosasaurus. And first of all, no, Steven Spielberg, no, it is not a mosasaurus. Mosasaurs are a class of dinosaurs like plesiosaurs, and dinosaurs are their own thing, so not a class of dinosaurs. I just said it wrong myself, but you know what I mean. Mosasaurs.
It's
some kind of big ass swimming reptile. Anyway, back to my original point. So, there's this team of brothers, brother paleontologists.
Okay.
Which, you know, sounds pretty cool. That's definitely the basis of some kind of movie, Paleontologist Brothers. And I've completely forgotten their names. But anyway, they were digging up stuff in Wales, and they found some bones that they sent off to University of Southampton, I believe,
Yeah, I
or
think so.
Plymouth. No, sorry, Plymouth. To have a look at. And then at another date, going back to the same place in Wales, they found a footprint. Basically, what they eventually put together with the help of the people at the University of Plymouth is that this is a brand new dinosaur, and it's a distant relative of the T-Rex. So, the UK, and Wales in particular, has its very own T-Rex-like dinosaur. However, this one wasn't quite as big and ferocious as you would imagine. It was probably about the size of a dog, but it is described as having needle-sharp teeth, which is terrifying to think of a dog size.
Yeah,
dinosaur, like T-Rex like dinosaur.
We need to consider that it was also a young, so they haven't found an adult yet, but they can estimate they wouldn't
Yes.
be too big.
Yeah. The individual was in question. Well, I sound like a police officer there. The individual in question was a juvenile, about
Juvenile, very good word.
3 foot 4. But yes, it was a juvenile, but still, they estimate it wasn't awfully big. But still, this means Wales officially, at some point in time, had dragons because they have now named this new dinosaur Dracoraptor, which means dragon thief, because raptor means thief. So, but I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Like, Wales officially has a dragon now, a real dragon, and there we go. And you know what? They said they're officially going to display it in Wales. The bones themselves will be sent back to Wales and displayed in Wales, you know, so a bit of Welsh pride for any of you Welshies out there, like producer Chris.
Cymru Hambith.
Yeah, whatever that means.
It's Welsh for Wales.
Might as well be gibberish.
So,
If you want to see any more information of that, check out Twitter. All the stuff we're talking about tonight, there are tweets going out with the articles and stuff with all this news, which should help you. Like,
they're on the
understand it.
hashtag Astroholic Live, or you can check our Twitter feed. So, I got 2 more questions for me, and none for you.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
so if you have any bio question, there are.
Yeah, please. Any biology question about any biology news ever, or actually anything that's just not astrophysics, please send them in, because now this is the part where I just kind of like sit on the side and just chill for a minute, because
send them.
Alfredo will not stop talking for probably the next 15 minutes, so
Well, you can give me drinks.
feel free now to go get your tea or your coffee or your wine. It is Friday after all, or your gin. Thank you.
So,
But no, seriously, do keep watching. What he has to say is likely going to be interesting.
okay, this was for the Dracoraptor.
Long live Khaleesi, mother of dragons. Speaking of which, have you seen the new trailer? Wait, what?
I have no idea what that was.
Oh, that was okay. For those of you who didn't catch that sound effect,
it was
that was
Hodor.
Hodor.
Okay.
I do hope he comes back in the new season. I don't miss him.
So, I have 2 questions, one from JD and one from Dave, about the 9th planet in the solar system. So, you might have heard last week it was announced that it looks like there is a 9th planet in the solar system. Sorry,
That's this many.
this many, yes. So it's very interesting. There's the debate really got polarized, because I read the paper, and the paper is really interesting. They say, based on gravitational consideration of how objects are organized in the solar system, it looks likely. I think it's got a 3 sigma possibility. So it's quite likely. It's not a certain certainty, but it's quite likely that there is planet number 9, and it's. I find it fascinating, simply because there's a lot of people going crazy about it. Both people that are not scientists, thinking that the planet for some reason will destroy us before the end of the year. If you
And this goes back to the Planet X
yeah
conspiracy, and people thought it was going to somehow appear out of nowhere and collide with Earth and destroy us back in 2012, because they thought that's what the Mayans predicted. And several times throughout history, people have thought Planet X was just going to pop out of nowhere. Although, actually, it would be really funny if... Well, it wouldn't be funny, but it would be quite ironic if it did turn out to be that. But it's very, very likely not.
well,
Do you believe? Because I believe.
if you're a Daily Express reader, first of all, why are you watching this? Second of all, you might have heard that the planet is going to hit planet Earth by the end of the year, so you're just like... But no, we don't even know if it exists yet. It's not been observed because it's very, very far away from the Sun.
But
So-
Al, if we haven't seen the planet, how can we guess that it's even there?
Well, this wouldn't be the first time that we worked out something wasn't there, but actually with
You mean the first time we worked out that something was there before seeing
before.
it?
Yeah, sorry. It's been already 4 shots. Ceres, the asteroid in the asteroid belt, Neptune, dark matter, dark energy. To be honest, a lot of quantum particles. We worked out that the Higgs boson. We worked out that the Higgs boson had to exist in the 60s. We proved it a few years ago. So it's
So it's quite a common thing in science. And some could say that is quite a big part of science, is you make predictions based on calculations and previous observations, and then sometimes you find out that your observations were correct.
and sometimes you find out the observations are completely wrong.
And then you start all over again.
Yeah, for example, people arguing, "Oh, this is so ridiculous. You should only check that things are there before you need to check that things are there, and then you can make work out a theory." At the beginning of the 20th century, people believed that there was a ether that would permeate the entire space, and it was they made an experiment to prove that ether actually existed. So they were convinced, oh, it must be there, until they realized that there wasn't, and light can move through vacuum. But that is one of the most important. People think that it's a bit silly that it's still being taught, but I think it's one of the most important experiments in science, because that experiment didn't hinder science at all. Actually, made them realize, oh, you know what? Maybe
We've got more work to do, basically.
Yeah, we need to be a lot more critical. Even things that everyone assumed to be true, they might not be.
And on that point, we've got a question from Dr. Dave. Hey, Dave, hey! Dr. Dave at a subset of Daves asks, if there is a ninth planet in our solar system, what do each of us expect and or would like to find? I mean, I'm not an astrophysicist, obviously, but from what I've read, I expect it's going to be something that's quite big. But I would be very interested to see if it's some kind of like world that freezes and thaws, because its orbit is they predicted that if it does exist, its orbit is around the sun is something like 22,000 Earth years, and so that means it has to go very far away from the sun before it comes back. So I would love to see, if such a planet did exist, what would happen to such extreme heating and cooling going so far away from the sun's energy and then coming back towards it.
I think it would be interesting to know what it's made of. It would be like a sub-Neptunian planet, so an ice giant like Neptune, or would be like a super Earth. We found a lot of super Earths around the galaxy, thanks to Kepler. Thanks to the Kepler Space Telescope. Not many in the solar system. There is argument that Jupiter, being so big, managed to regulate the size of all the other objects in the solar system, but we don't know. So I really do hope that there is a ninth planet and that we find it. To find it, we're gonna need to use radio telescope and keep looking at orbit. Hopefully something will reflect off it. And with that, we can move on to
the next thing.
To my next. Would you like red?
I would like red. You know what? I'm feeling red. Red is always a good colour to go for.
Okay, so to Nibiru, the ninth planet. It's
The
not
conspiracy
Nibiru.
continues.
Cheers.
I think the red is maybe my favourite.
Okay, you can have the last two. I'm gonna have more.
No. I want to try them. Don't limit my colours.
No, there's plenty.
Well, actually, before we carry on in another question for you,
Yeah.
I've been saved. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. I've been saved by JD, who... Was it JD? Am I reading this right? Yes, it is. Oh, wait, no. Sorry. It's Ross McKinnon. Hey, Ross. He saved me, and he's asked us a biology question. But I'll see if I can understand it. So Ross says, which he is at RamCK001. So go follow him, because he's cool. Is photonic stimulation a thing, and when can I start using it on patients? So, I think what you...
Let's Google photonic stimulation.
If it's what I think it is, it's basically this concept that a lot of quack therapies seem to use, when you basically use light to stimulate something in the body, and it somehow is used as a therapy. What I will say is, it depends on what light it is. So I have seen videos on YouTube of people using, doing color therapy with different lights. Okay. And was I right?
You were absolutely right.
Okay, great.
Didn't you see my face?
No, I did not. Wait, was that sarcastic? Did I get it wrong?
No. It will not.
If I'm way off, somebody tweet and tell me.
Photonic stimulation is exactly what.
Anyway, so basically, photonic meaning light, stimulation meaning stimulation. So there's like some really weird people who claim to cure all sorts with photonic stimulation, and basically they call it different words, but a lot of quite commonly we see it as color therapy. And all they do is shine a colored light onto people and say, oh, the red energy is symbolizes something. And then I shine it on you, and it gives you more of this energy. And they like to use the word energy a lot because I think it makes them really cool and important, and it makes them look like they know shit, but they don't. Sorry, that was a swear. I shouldn't have said that. You pretend you didn't hear that. But shut up. Yeah, the visible light constantly hits us every single day in the form of white light, and as most people who've done basic science at school will know, white light, the stuff we see all around us, is a whole combination of all the different wavelengths of visible light and non-visible light. However, there are some wavelengths that, when used in certain intensities, most of them are pretty much they're all non-visible light part of the spectra.
Yeah, doing great.
They can be therapeutic. For instance, radiotherapy. Radiotherapy is on the electromagnetic spectrum, which is technically, a light wave, but it's just not in the visible part of the spectrum, and that can be used for therapy. So can infrared light for heat therapy is used for some things, although its effects are contentious. And then the UV light is used sometimes to kill bacteria and sterilize certain things, but not directly on patients because it would just give you horrific sunburn.
You can also consider that X-ray is used for X-rays, and gamma rays are used to cure cancer, or to at least kill cancer cells. We use light already. To be honest, visible light is, apart from the photonics therapy, is the one that is a little bit more controversial. They made a study on a seasonal
effect, SAD, seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah, in the States, it's not a big deal, and they interviewed 35,000 people, which is a huge number for medical studies, and pretty much people just answer question saying, "Oh yes, I feel a lot more down in winter," and they were asked different question, and they didn't show that they have any real symptoms. But it's fascinating to see that. So to consider that most of the United States is pretty much the same parallel of Italy. So they get a lot of light, even in winter. But it's fascinating to see that in places like Norway, Scandinavian countries, Iceland, you get a lot more suicide in winter.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point to make. I forgot about that. People have, in more recent years, started using daylight therapy, where basically they do expose people in these countries where have very long, dark winters to a whole spectrum of wavelengths of light, particularly UV, because it does actually help stimulate the production of certain hormones in your body. That's how like your body knows it's night or day, and how you feel sleepy when there's when it's dark around, because there's no light to stimulate the production of melatonin, which keeps you awake.
So, and also consider that we evolved in Africa, and
where it's sunny all the time. I can tell you because I've been there and it was great.
So, I think we answered the biology question.
Yeah, although I must apologise, Ross has just tweeted us saying, I was thinking more a dermal regenerator from Star Trek. I'm sorry, Ross, but don't hate me. I'm not really the Star Trek fan here, so I wouldn't have got that. I don't even understand what a dermal regenerator is. But thanks for asking the question.
Okay,
it still led to some pretty interesting answers. We also have another mention from JD saying, 2 mentions from JD, super popular tonight. He says, I should try figure out how to bring my birds next month. Thanks, that'd be a great idea. I would genuinely love to do that. However, I'm pretty sure the poor creatures would hate it.
But I promise you that before the in the next few months, I'm gonna go up to Matt's, and we're gonna have Astroholic.
Astroholic on tour.
On tour, yes, why not? I have other questions, and I lost it.
Yeah, what are we going to next? Because, I mean, JD's just, like, pouring in with the questions now for me. So, I mean, I could carry on, but I don't want to steal your limelight.
So,
I think we've got a drink now.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Which one do you want?
Let's do green, you know?
Let's do green.
Although, why is there only one blue left?
Because I ran out of ingredients.
Wait, what are we cheersing to this time?
To
the sun, to the light!
To the light. Cheers. And to Ross, thanks for the question. Although we...
Thanks, Ross. Sorry, I took it completely down the other route. I out-nerded the nerdy question.
Team deathmatch.
So...
Team deathmatch.
So...
Give us a shout if you're loving the sound effects this episode. Because I know I am.
I'm completely lost the other question, but in the meantime, I got Lodair that asked, as a follow-up on the warp drive, can gravity be artificially created? Yes. So, if gravity is simply a distortion of space-time, and as long as you have a lot of energy, you have the principal equivalence, and you have E equal mc squared. So if you have a lot of energy, you can simulate a lot of mass, and you can create a gravitational artificial field. There are people that believe that we already have the capability, because we can create an incredibly intense magnetic field, and hopefully we can create a gravitational field not powerful enough to lift anything, but powerful enough to be measured that there is a gravitational distortion. So hopefully, I wrote about it a few weeks ago, so go and check my articles, and hopefully should be hopefully somebody will give them the money to test this.
That would be pretty cool.
Okay, if we don't have oh no, I have the question now, remember. The question is about the flat Earth.
Can I get a collective sigh from everyone?
Yeah. You see, that wasn't even a sound effect, that was our real wonderful
sound effects guy actually making a sigh. I mean,
it's...
What do you say? I mean, first of all, who is this B.O.B.? I never heard of this B.O.B. before until I realised he was trying to claim that the Earth is flat.
So probably he did it for publicity, but it's...
The shade.
So it's fucking 2016. We cannot spend time discussing vaccine and the fact that the Earth is flat. So, but I'm gonna say this: since the Greeks, no major civilization in the world held the belief that the Earth was flat. Seriously, not even the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages believed that the Earth was flat. They knew it was round. They thought that it was at the center of the universe, but they knew it was round. The entire idea came from some crazy Americans in the 19th century that started the Flat Earth Society, and it's got 500 members. And for some reason, this week in science, we've only been talking about that.
So I think our point that we want to get across is, as far as the flat Earth thing is concerned, get with the science or GTFO, because we don't.
Exactly. So let's have dread.
Let's have red for our anger and rage, and let's drink to this never coming up again ever.
Cheers.
We have a comment from Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Around Earth, next you're going to tell me that evolution is real.
Don't be silly, evolution's not real. Intelligent design.
Yeah, all the way. Ooh.
Oh god.
I have.
There is no lab safety here. Don't let the lab coat fool you. Like that Tesseract chest tube is just for show.
I am an astrophysicist. I don't even need a lab coat, but it's really cool. It's got stars all over it. And badges. You see, that was the comment on for Tom. Thank you very much for that.
Did you have another question, or is it time for my other story?
I have people still discussing gravity, but if you have another story, please tell the
yes,
story.
I'm afraid, we would gladly go on and talk about gravity all day, but I'm afraid we're probably some of us behind on that one. So, my next story, I'm afraid we're not going to get a link tweeted out until after the show about that story because one of our computers has died in the background. But it's about something the government recently did. Do you know what it is?
Which government?
Our government, the UK government.
So
it's about a silly thing they recently did, and I know that could be a lot of things.
I'm assuming is banning drugs.
Yeah. What stupid thing did it go? Thank you. Boo. Yes. The government has recently overwhelmingly voted to approve the new psychoactive substances bill. Now, I won't berate them all because it started and came from a good place. The government wanted to try and get a handle on these things so-called legal highs, which are basically compounds which are being made to mimic the effects of other existing drugs to produce the effect of getting high, similar to things like weed or LSD, so anything that was like psychedelic or psychoactive, as it were. However, despite several very expensive government inquiries into drugs law in total, so this is a bit of a rant in case you hadn't already noticed, but despite several of these very expensive inquiries and investigations into the effectiveness of drug law all coming back saying banning everything doesn't work, what did they do for this? They decided to ban everything, which at first everyone's like, oh, you're just going to ban all legal highs, people are just going to still try and get them from somewhere else, they just won't really be called legal highs. But they included such a vague description and definition of psychoactive substances that you could actually ban the smell of bacon. And this thing has passed. Like, there was so little knowledge by MPs of what they were actually banning that when they realised and were told how bad their definition in this bill of psychoactive substances was, they actually had to make exceptions for coffee, cigarettes and alcohol. Because basically, from a scientific point of view, anything that affects your state of mind, other than what it is on any substance, basically, you starve yourself for 24 hours, that's almost a psychoactive experience. So everything and anything can be psychoactive if it changes or alters in any way whatever your state of mind is now from what it could be. So
they're pretty much banning love.
Basically,
excitement, adrenaline.
There's the amount of things you could actually ban with this bill is ridiculous, and
Holding your breath.
You could ban chocolate. Holding your breath.
Think you could ban chocolate? Okay, seriously, let's get Guy Fawkes' mask and let's go and do something. I just realized that we're live, so I
Yeah,
cannot say
let's
anything that
not
would be
make a commitment to do something really bad to Parliament. Ow, that is not a good thing to do
No.
live on the interweb.
So,
We love our country.
yes.
We do. You know,
Love
you,
the
you
dream.
know, you know, it's really bad that we get onto this topic and start saying these things, especially considering that the two of us are, what's the word, immigrants?
Yes, that is exactly the word. But anyway, so I think the thing that really annoyed me about the bill is the claim that the bill would save hundreds, if not thousands, of lives, and it's just like it's ridiculous because that number has no scientific basis.
While there is a significant danger with the presence of these legal highs, because there have been several, and not hundreds, several cases of 20-year-olds taking these and having heart attacks, and that is unheard of up until this day and age. But still, like, blanket banning them is just not the way to go about them. It's like the current approach to GM foods, like, we don't understand it, therefore ban it. Exactly. Thank you. Illustrating my point perfectly. So, but I'll stop ranting now.
So,
Anyway.
I have not. We have reached the hour point, but I don't have any more questions. But I have a couple of news stories that I think that we're covering.
Yeah, let's cover them anyway, because we can't end on a point of
Okay.
such bad science,
How
flat
about-
Earth followed up by psychoactive substances.
Yeah,
though.
how about you have
I
a
will-
little bit of blue, and
I
then we
need
finish,
to calm myself down. Let me have a little bit. Hit me with I need a bit of psychoactive substance.
Yes, sir.
That's what I need.
So,
Tasty. I feel better.
there are two very interesting.
Am I? Calm down. Everyone. I'm fine.
There are two very interesting science stories that came out yesterday, and one is about the formation of the moon. The moon formed when a planetary body the size of Mars, called Theia, which is Greek for the mother of the moon, hit the Earth, and the debris that formed the moon. But now they realize that before it was thought that it was a sort of glancing blow, and most of the material from Theia formed the moon. But now we think that it was a head-on collision, and it sort of ripped this planet apart and ripped a lot of the Earth crust, and it got all mixed up. And so the moon and the Earth formed almost at the same time, and is absolutely fascinating, in my opinion. Yes, oh my, indeed. Our sound guy was a little bit distracted on when to play stuff.
But then again, is there ever a wrong time for a George K. Oh my?
No, there's
No,
never,
there isn't.
never a wrong time. And
What kind of impression was that?
and the other, shut up. And the other very, very, very interesting. The other very, very interesting science news is about Babylonian astronomy.
Ooh. Now, just a bit of background.
You're stealing the job from our sound guy when you go, ooh.
Oh,
He
okay.
was already
Sorry,
ready.
sorry, sound guy. No, I don't want to steal away from you your limelight. Please do the ooh.
Let's redo that. So the next topic is about Babylonian astronomy. The next topic is about Babylonian astronomy. We're getting a little bit of deja vu
You know,
here.
yeah. That's
No,
the wrong ooh. That's the bad ooh.
Yeah, that is like boo. Are you saying boo or boo earns? Anyway,
You can have a sweet for that one. That actually got me. Great. You can have two, and I'm going to
Thank
have
you.
one because I enjoyed that.
So Babylonian astronomy, what it was discovered in the last week and published yesterday, is that Babylonian astronomy used advanced geometry. They had velocity time graphs to calculate the position of Jupiter up to a year in advance, and it's fascinating. But the thing that I love, I interviewed the researcher yesterday, the thing that I love is the Babylonian didn't give a fuck about the fact that Jupiter moved in the sky in a really weird way. It moved in the sky in a really weird way because Jupiter orbits around the Sun, and we orbit around the Sun. At a certain point, Earth gets close. Earth is orbiting, so maybe it's approaching Jupiter, and then it surpassed Jupiter, and then it's approaching Jupiter again, because Jupiter orbits further away, so it's slower. But in the sky, it looks like Jupiter is moving like this, stopping, doing a loop, stopping, and then going forward again. Fascinating. They had precise prediction on what it was doing that. They didn't give a flying toss, for not swearing, about...
yeah, I'm sorry, you already F-bombed at least twice tonight.
We're talking about flat Earth, that is allowed. They didn't care about the fact that Jupiter made this. They just thought it was actually a god moving through the sky. And they can predict its position. They can predict its position, and the method that they use wasn't invented in Europe until the 14th century. So they discovered this almost 2,000 years before, and it's fascinating.
Crazy how smart people were back then, when we have so much cool stuff today. You kind of think sometimes like, oh, we got iPads, so our civilization right now must be really smart, everyone before us was really dumb. But they were smart enough to survive, enough to make us. So I always find that fascinating. And it's a slight tangent, but you got to think about it. If you're alive today, that means every single ancestor of yours was smart enough to survive long enough to have kids that would eventually have.
Okay, I'm usually the optimist here, but I'm gonna really burst your bubble simply because talking about ancestors. If you just think, okay...
I thought you were going to go into talk about your own ancestors and be
No.
like, well, I'll tell you about my own ancestors, and they were idiots.
I'm going to talk about everyone's ancestor. If you just consider, I need to have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, and so on. A certain point, you reach that there must be a lot more people on the planet than actually been. And you realize that most of the human race spend a lot of time in incest.
Yeah, that is very true.
What you're saying about, it's impressive that we survive to this day, it's very impressive that we survive to this day.
Yes, exactly. As I was just saying, it's impressive that, we managed to, survive long enough to, so that we stayed around on the planet this long. I didn't say we were proud of what we did to get here, okay? I'm just saying, we're here now, that's cool, the past is the past, we forget about it, we moved on, okay? On that note.
On that note, I'm not sure about the football chanting, but maybe you were
making a point about football who lose.
Yeah, and saying that to some people you actually can tell that they are inbred.
Yeah.
What else can happen in science lately? So we have discovered that there is a giant cloud that was sort of erupted from the Milky Way about 70 million years ago, and is going to collide with the Milky Way again in about 30 million in the future, and is moving very fast, about 313 to be precise, kilometers per second.
Woo, that fast!
And it's going to produce 2 million new stars, and I think it's very, very fascinating. Then there's some advanced physics here and there to discuss if we want to discuss. Is there anything new in biology that you want to talk about?
Well, I think I brought up the most interesting things. Let me check my notes. But I don't know. Is there anything that people on Twitter have heard recently and be like, I don't get it? because I quite like those stories where they really throw you. It's like either busting an old myth, or it's something so bizarre that you just never really even had to thought you would ever have to think about it. So I don't know really.
Okay. Not getting much from Twitter, but thank you for the tweets so far.
Yeah, they're probably just really bored of us now. They're probably like, okay, this is the point of the night where the alcohol has reached that point where you've had too much of it. You're not making that much sense.
So,
yeah.
then
I can't think of any more stories in the world of biology, I'm afraid.
what? Okay. So, what we can do is talk about one of. Ooh, we must have a question.
We're being paused.
Nope. Okay.
Okay, we good. We good.
I mentioned there have been two big stories on last week and this week about surviving on Mars. The story that came out today, the story came out yesterday. I wrote about it today. Is the some fungi and some lichens were able to survive in Mars-like condition on the ISS, so outside the ISS. And that's fascinating because it tells us that life is really capable to survive extreme conditions.
And I've said this in like pretty much almost every Astroholic we've done so far, that extremophiles are great examples of life here on Earth that survive at crazy conditions. And it's really impressive, but not at all surprising that these microorganisms have survived like in the near vacuum of space.
The
Shout out to tardigrades here, they did it first.
Tardigrades are amazing. There is an issue though. Another team looked at the permafrost. They look at the permafrost of this region in Antarctica that is the closest place on Earth that looks like Mars, because it's very dry and it's been frozen for over 150,000 years. And unfortunately they didn't find any traces of life, which spells quite bad news for Mars. It means that if life on Earth life cannot find a way on Earth, life on Mars is even more unlikely. We got a question, and I suggest that this is our last question, and then we close for the night. It's from Ross, who said, "Okay, I got a better one. The last question was good. It's just that Matt doesn't know enough about Star Trek to answer that."
Yeah, and again, I'm sorry. I know I should know more about Star Trek if I'm going to call myself a fully fledged geek, but. What are you gonna do, hey?
We're gonna do a rewatch for the 50th anniversary. I'm rewatching the entire original series. It's taking a while. So the question is, Saturn rings were damaged. Will they fix themselves?
They were damaged?
According to Ross, I'm not sure, but Saturn
is that an if? Or... they are damaged.
So there are stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in the Saturn rings. So I'm gonna double check this if they were or they are not ring damage. So yes, in there is a hole in the F ring. This is from 2012. Cassini spotted a hole in the.
Carry on.
What did I say?
I don't even know. I blame the crew. They started laughing.
Okay, it's they're just lettering. Oh. Anyway. So
I am a professional.
All the material in the rings are well balanced. They're well balanced thanks to little moonlets called Shepherd's Moon, which keep all the material in a sort of gravitational resonance. So we think that some of this moon form and break, and so yeah, the system is very dynamic. If the hole is still there, couldn't find anything more recent than 2012, it will definitely repair itself. You should consider the Saturn rings as a system with not a living system, but a system like made of sand that is very malleable. It can form, it can change shape, it can have a hole punch through and have perturbation, and it always go back to an equilibrium point.
Cool story, bro. I'm sorry.
Okay, so
I instantly regretted making fun of you for that because it is cool. Saturn's rings are like one of the coolest things in the solar system. Personally,
it
That's
is,
true.
and I think on that note, we can just
we should go out to our last drink, our bit of
Yeah.
green.
thank you to everyone who watched, commented, tweeted, made fun, played sound, organized everything.
Yeah, big love to you all, everyone in this room and everyone out there. Thank you for indulging us. We just love to make fools of ourselves and drink and talk about nerdy shit. So
Yeah, the Astroholic will go out in little smaller videos with the answer to the question and us being ridiculous, but some of the ridiculousness is gonna be cut out, hopefully.
Aw.
No, otherwise you wouldn't have any airtime. Anyway.
Whoa! I think we're just glazing over what was the shadiest part of this broadcast, but I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that because I'm the bigger man. So
Fair enough.
to you,
Thank you
to the
for
viewers.
thank you for watching, and have a good night.
good night.
Yay!